George has been looking for an opportunity like he got in Dallas with a team that can get him the ball, and now he has that. It'll be ludicrous and stupidity to say, all right, now that I finally found it and I had my best year, I'm just going to get up and go.
Shoddy's first year, he did great in my opinion. What did you kind of make from everything? How especially how he's kind of changed the culture there, it seems like already in just a short amount of time.
And I love it because in my opinion also, I thought it was a hell of a start for a guy that has never had any coaching experience.
Right.
I was with him the night before I came here. We were at dinner at Catch in Dallas, and so I got a chance to talk with him just the other day, and we were talking about the success the Cowboys had this year and how you build on that. Like, how can you get a more consistent offense and then get a better defense? And you put that on the football field. If you get a more consistent offense and then play better on defense, you can end up in this game next year. Be right in this game next year because that offense has a chance to putting up 35 points a game. They just have to consistently do it, and that's going to be the issue.
And that's the storyline I feel like it's been for the past couple years is that they start off really strong, and then, yes, injuries and everything, of course, but we see a decline in the second half of the season.
Right, but I like what Coach Schottenheimer does, though. And I don't know that we'll see that kind of decline because what he does is always create these situations where the team has to compete under pressure.
Right.
That is what NFL football is. All games are going to come down to the last few minutes of the game where you have to make plays under pressure. Let me give you an example. So before practice, he has a basketball goal in the meeting room, in the football meeting room. He calls out two guys. They have to come up 30 seconds, make as many free throws as they can. The whole team yelling and everything, and then the next guy comes up. You know, that's pressure. With crowds, that's creating competition under pressure situations.
Shoddy does this now.
That's what he does now. And everything they do is about creating competition under pressure. If you become just bet buddies with pressure and competition, you'll win a lot of games, and that's why I like what he's doing.
And it has to happen now because Dak's Super Bowl window, I don't know if I'm going to say it's closing, but it's maybe 3-4 more years?
Yeah, and 3 or 4 years. Dak's what, 10 years now? So, and nowadays, these guys aren't getting hit. Dak may squeeze out 4 or 5 more in this thing. You know what I mean? May not have the legs, but certainly have the arm.
He has the arm.
But you're right. That opportunity and that window they must address it now, right now. Why they have Dak, they have CD, they have George. You got to address it right now. You got Ferguson, and you got to do it now.
And even Schoonmaker, Flanoy.
Yes, Flanoy, all of them. But you got to make those plays, and we got to get to it right now. You don't have any more years to spend with Dak not being in the playoffs and not getting to this game.
Do you think that's why, in my opinion, it seems like Shoddy had a decent say in bringing in Christian Parker from the Eagles under the Vic Fangio tree. I don't know if that was more of a Shoddy hire than it was a Jerry hire.
No, it was a Shoddy hire. It was Coach Schottenheimer hire. And the things that we talked about the other day is, and because I asked Coach, I said, about the hire. He said, listen, this guy's great. And I said, great how? Because great comes in many forms. You could be great X's and O's. That's one thing. But I need you to be great Jimmys and Joes. You see, I don't want you to be designing plays, but can you design the man? Can you bring the best out of the man? Because if you come up with the greatest defense, greatest designs, but they're not putting everything into it, you're not going to have the right kind of success. So I want people that are brilliant with X's and O's, but it's more important to be brilliant with the Jimmys and Joes. Can you motivate men? That's the key. And he says this guy can do it both.
And talking about the defense and the personnel we have, talked to Emmett Smith earlier, and we were discussing the Micah trade and everything, and how we got Kenny Clark, Quinn Williams, and some good picks for next year too. He says he thinks that we won that trade. Do you agree with him? Or is it too early to say?
I think only one person won in that trade. It wasn't Dallas Cowboys. It wasn't even the Green Bay Packers. I just think the agent won. That was it. I think the agent won. Yeah, you know, Michael, and I say that because everybody, Michael got a new contract worth $47 million a year. No, it was not. That was if it started this year. Since he didn't sit out all year to start this year. That means you got to count last year. And when you put it all over there, it was really a 5-year deal for $42 million. Jerry was already at 40 or 41 million. You're paying state taxes in Green Bay.
Right.
You're not going to live in Green Bay. Your family live in Dallas. So the only person who really won in that trade was the agent because they got the number 47 attached to Michael Parsons' name, and Michael Parsons lost in that deal because Michael Parsons had a podcast going that was probably worth $200 million. You haven't heard anything about that.
Nothing. I literally thought about that the other day.
Since he left.
Yep.
So you know why? Because nobody gives a damn what goes on in Green Bay. Everybody cares about what goes on in Dallas.
Right.
So you gave up for $1 million more a year. You gave up a $200 million podcast.
And we know Michael likes to talk.
And that makes no sense to me. That's why I say Michael didn't win. Jerry certainly did not win because he had a player that wanted to be there. Now, you go to the football field. When you got a Quentin Williams and a Kenny Clark, that's a hell of a game.
It is.
That's a hell of a game. I would love to have those guys with the Michael Parsons on the end.
Yes.
But those two coming up the middle, and it's always, if I have a choice, I'd rather have strength up the middle.
Up the middle. Yep.
Than anything else. In life, let me just help you guys out. In life, if you ever get a choice, you want strength up the middle because that's usually where you can attack anything, even a human. There are things going right up the middle of your body that you cannot build a defense for. You know what I'm saying? So you always want to have an ability to attack right up the middle. Most quarterbacks in this league, if you're coming around the end, they can step up in the pocket. And Michael Parsons came around, those guys stepped up. But when you put pressure up the middle of the field,
two big dudes like
you
that,
got to make him go one way or the other.
Right.
If he runs right, he cuts off left. If he runs left, he cuts off right. And that's the difference.
So speaking of Micah's agent, same agent as
George Pickens. Right. And I say this because, and there's a great lead me into this, there's a great segue and a great lead because I told Michael, and I'm telling George, the agent works for you. You don't work for the agent. I don't know what's up with these players, but they have to start understanding the agent works for them. When I came in this league, even when I came in, I was first round draft pick, 11th pick, right, in the draft. I've always made sure the agent understood, dude, I don't work for you. You work for me. And there are things like, okay, simple things. Let me help these young rookies that are coming in, they're about to get drafted. If you're a high draft choice, you got to make sure you tell this agent, I'm going to pay you 3% over the first offer. So I'll give you an example. If I'm the 10th pick, I was the 11th pick. If I'm the 10th pick, though, and the 10th pick last year got $15 million. The 10th pick this year is going to get a 10 or 15% raise. So I'm getting $17 million, or 16 and a half, whatever. Right. So now I'm going to tell my agent, you get 3% over that number. But you don't get a dime of that number.
Right.
You didn't do anything for that. I did all that in college. So you didn't come and negotiate up to that number. That number is a base because they did it last year.
Yep.
I'm not giving you a dime of that first $16 million. Anything you get over that, you worked on. Anything both, that's mine. Y'all got to learn this stuff. The agent worked for y'all, not y'all work for the agent. That's all. And George, I hope he is not a dummy. I know he's not a dummy, but I hope he doesn't let this guy, or any guy, persuade him. George has been looking for an opportunity like he got in Dallas with a team that can get him the ball. And now he has that. It'll be ludicrous and stupidity to say, all right, now that I finally found it and I had my best year, I'm just going to get up and go. You know what I mean? If I'm him, just like Mike, I'm going to say, hey, go work it out. Go get that number as close as you can to the ceiling, get as much as we can get, but we're not leaving.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I can have 7, 8 years of playing at this level, than going over
With
here
a CD
and getting
Lamb,
somebody
nonetheless.
else, right, and go over somewhere else, and maybe you get 2 years and you're out.
Right. You don't know how you're going to fit.
Right, and you don't know if they got a quarterback. You don't know how it's going to work. That's the key part that I hope George is paying attention to.
Talk about the franchise. Well, it's most likely going to be a franchise tag this year, right?
Well, I think Jerry's going to use that.
Yeah.
But I hope that's not the end game.
Right.
George has been through enough. And I know getting him a nice deal and get him some guaranteed money can rest his head and give him the feeling. I think that should be that's most important to him. I got a place that I call home.
Right.
Right.
And he's never had that.
And I want to be here. That matters more than anything. Excuse me. When we're talking these kinds of numbers, $1 million here, more, $1 million there, more, is not going to change your life.
Right.
Happiness will make the difference.
100%. But it's funny because CD said that on Tuesday. Mike was trying to poach him over.
Pull him over.
Yeah,
right,
I mean, I get Micah doing that, but also
no. Michael's trying. There are plenty of receivers out there. Go poach those guys. But Michael's trying to make sure Dallas doesn't have any success without him. I understand that too. You know what I mean?
I didn't really think of it like that. Because then he's going to be like, oh, man, maybe I made the wrong decision.
Right. He's like, come on, we don't want Dallas having any success without me. So I understand that.
Cowboys just announced, I don't know if you heard this actually a couple hours ago, first international game next year in Brazil. What about thoughts about that?
Man, we did. It was years ago, right? We were on I was on the committee. They were trying to come up with places to send games that we're going to do international games. The first place I volunteered was Brazil, Rio to be exact.
It's going to be in
Rio. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right. Oh my God, these jokers. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. And we said in that meeting, we don't know about doing the Pro Bowl in Rio and stuff like that in Rio because there was so many other things to do that we were worried about the guys would get in trouble. I was like, that's exactly why I suggested Rio. Right,
you already knew.
Right, that's exactly what I was saying, But so yeah, we didn't go. But I guess they feel they got enough now, security and everything, and they're going.
So that means now you kind of finally get your chance, though. You're gonna go. You gotta go.
Hey, look, I was at Carnival last year at Rio. I was at Rio last.
Oh, so you've had your Rio experience.
I had my, my little silver all down the belly button and all them chest. I was walking around like they were in Carnival.
Living your best life.
Off, like, wow. Nobody knew. Well, a few people knew, but basically I got to be, not Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
It was fun as I don't know what. And the great part about it is everybody in that Carnival, not like in America, there was no issues. Nobody was fighting anybody. Nobody had any hostility. It was just dancing in the streets. It was incredible. That game, a game in Rio for the Cowboys is going to be insane.